Hey book nerds, I'm Travis, and this is Travis Reads Books. Today I'm doing a review of Locke and Key by Christie Stratos. If you watch my channel at all, you know there are two books that I talk about constantly, Blood Meridian and Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. Now Locke and Key is the standalone sequel to Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. They're both part of Christie Stratos' Dark Victoriana Collection. So, needless to say, going in, my expectations were extremely high. But I'm very happy to report that they were not only met, but exceeded. Locke and Key is the story of a master locksmith conveniently named Locke, and 5 new employees he's hired on. And they all form sort of a locksmith family, kind of. But it's a pretty dysfunctional family. The world of Locke and Key is thick with Victorian minutiae. The book starts with a dinner party of sorts, and you could probably learn more about the Victorian era from reading about that dinner party than you would in an entire textbook devoted to Victorian times. Which isn't to say it gets boring, because it does not. Every section of every chapter is told from the perspective of one of the 5 characters, and each one brings their own unique outlook and perception of the events and characters, and especially of Mr. Locke himself, who for most of the book you really only get to see him through the eyes of the 5 locksmiths. So all the conclusions you draw about him are slightly clouded by everyone's personal opinions of him. Probably the thing I love the most about this book is the uncertainty and originality of the story. Halfway through the book, I still had no idea where exactly the plot was going, and I really relished that sort of uncertainty. So many books that I read now, even some of the best ones, are retellings or reimaginings or inspired bys, or are even just blatant rip-offs of other stories. Locke and Key tells a story that you have definitely never heard before, and it tells it in a way that you've never read before, and I really loved that level of uncertainty. Reading the book, I was so enthralled with these characters that I couldn't put it down. I had to keep reading until I found out where the story was taking them, what their backstories were, how it all came together, and how it all related to the mysterious Mr. Locke. So I read the entire thing in one sitting, and I am a slow reader, so that was one marathon session, but like I said, I couldn't put it down until I found out what was happening. As far as its place in the Dark Victoriana Collection, you do not need to have read Anatomy of a Darkened Heart before reading Locke and Key. There are some characters and settings that carry over from one to the other, but it's not a direct continuation. And actually, in terms of order of reading, Locke and Key might actually be a better jumping off point for the collection, simply because Anatomy of a Darkened Heart is very insular, and it all takes place within mostly one setting with a small group of characters, whereas Locke and Key takes place in multiple settings with a wide array of characters, so it might be a better introduction to the Dark Victoriana universe. There's a lot going on in this book, and there's a lot of characters, but ultimately what the story is about is family. The ones we're given, the ones we make ourselves, and the ones we're trying to get away from. That was my review of Locke and Key by Christie Stratos. If you liked the review, be sure and give it a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe hit subscribe so you don't miss any reviews coming up. Thanks for watching, love and respect. See you next time.